Hello girlfriends, welcome to my channel. Special welcome if you are new here. My name is Jody and it's great to have you join me today. So today we are doing part of my Affordable Drugstore, very popular series. And so I have wanted to bring you this gel for a while, and for whatever reason I haven't gotten around to it, but I've used this for a long time. It's a tried and true of mine. I personally like this type of style, but it's not for everybody. But what I'm talking about is the ECO STYLER Gel. And I particularly have the Argan Oil one. I've not tried any of the others, but I know ECO has recently come out with new packaging. It says new look on here. But I had heard also that it wasn't just new packaging, that it was a new formulation. So I said, if I'm gonna bring this to you, let's do a side-by-side to see what the differences are, and so you guys can see it best. Now, as I said, I've had this one for quite a while. You can start to see how I'm working my way down here. I think you can see that. And it takes quite a bit. This is 16 ounces and it's fairly cheap. I think this is around the $3 mark. I'll put a little price in here at some point. So it would take me a long time to get all the way through this. I tend to use this a lot more in the summertime, or sometimes I will do this as like a topper gel on top of like a softer holding styler. And then also I like to use it like when my hair, I'm trying to slick it back a little bit more. I've got a lot of flyaways. I will go in with it, just a little bit of this gel on my fingertips, put a little water on it, and just kind of smooth those flyaways down. So that's typically how I have been using this gel a lot. Like I said, smooth flyaways, a little bit of a topper on, a softer holding styler, or just go in with it more in the summertime. This typically gives me a very good hold and it lasts well. So that's why I enjoy it in the summertime. It works better in the heat and humidity for me. And I don't always need as hard of a hold in the wintertime. I can get away with some of my more softer stylers then in the cooler months. So let's look at some of the differences of these two gels. First off, I think maybe you can tell the difference in the color. It's not just lighting. I'll move it around. I do have some natural lighting coming in from that direction, but you can see this older version is more yellow. Now I assume that's probably just because I got a little bit more yellow dye. It might be due to some of the other ingredients tossed in there. I'm not really sure. Also, this newer packaging has a lot more of those air bubbles in it. This one has some, but not nearly as many, and they tend to be a little bit bigger. And even though I've had this thing on my shelf for a while, it's stayed looking the same. Like the consistency hasn't changed. I don't ever remember it being this bubbly. So those are two of the big things that I noticed. When we get to the ingredients, this has a fairly simple ingredients list, but it has changed. So I wish, rather than just saying new look, they should say new formula on there, because that's being truthful. The first ingredients are water for both of these, and then the second ingredient is carbomer, and then the third ingredient, they start to change. The old version had the argan oil, and then the next ingredient was the hydrolyzed wheat protein. On the new packaging, the third ingredient is potassium hydroxide, and then there's also, boy, the lighting makes this hard to read. I'm not going to be able to pronounce this, but it's some sort of PVP. So I'll put it down below here so you can read it, what it is. But anyways, so that's just like a basic start for it. The hydrolyzed wheat protein isn't until like the very bottom of the ingredients list, which is, I feel like, unfortunate. And where is the argan oil? The argan oil is now the bottom of the ingredients list. So that seems kind of disappointing. Like if you're featuring this as an argan oil gel, I feel like you should have it higher up on the ingredients list. And I love protein for my hair, so I don't like the fact that that has changed as lower level of protein. But let's just see how it performs. Another thing that I want to note on the packaging, it looks, obviously there's a little different logo on the top or on the front, but this is a firm, the lid looks the same. The containers look like they're structured the same, but literally, like, I was able to squeeze this off. So without even opening the seal. I don't know if that's just a faulty container or if they did get slightly different containers and they're not sealed as well, but that's just something I happened to notice yesterday as I was picking it up. All right, I want to make sure my hair stays wet. I don't think that I have mentioned already, but I have already washed and conditioned my hair, and I have gone in with my leave-in conditioner, an Aussie hair insurance leave-in conditioner. I'll put a picture of it up here. I chose to use that leave-in because I just know how it performs. I know what it brings to the table, and if I'm trying something kind of newer or the side by side in this case, I feel like it's a good base to go in with because I know what it brings to a hairstyle. All right, I'm just going to take what's on the lid of the newer one, and we're just going to rub that, or we're just going to get a glob of that. I don't know how well you can see that because it is clear, but it is a thicker gel. Eco gels are thicker, and it's not to everybody's taste. If you find that it's too thick to disperse through your hair, then you can go in with a little water. I oftentimes do that and just kind of help disperse it more. But I don't find if my hair is soaking wet that I have too much of a problem getting it in. Everyone's different though. So like I said, don't be afraid to try some of those other options as far as going in with a little bit of water, but also don't feel obligated. I mean, I'm just telling you what I like and what maybe some other people like, but maybe it's not for everybody. Okay, I'm just going in with a little bit more, just a fingertip full. I just want to make sure that I'm not getting any flyaways. I just feel like it absorbs into my hair well. Okay, I have a paper towel. I'm wiping my hands off, trying to get as much of that off the newer version as possible. And then we're going to go in with the older one. All right, going in with this older gel here. I feel like I've got about the same amount. This one feels a little bit thicker. Ooh, I should have done that test for you guys. I'll do it a little bit later here. But this one does feel thicker in my hands, definitely. Okay, yeah, I'm going to go in with some water to help spray, or to help disperse this. So I just sprayed some of my continuous mist water spray in my hands. So maybe they reformulate to help it disperse better. I mean, obviously a lot of people don't like how thick the original version is of these eco gels, and I understand. Okay, let's do that little side by side then of these two, just to see. All right, this is the newer version of the gel. Okay, none of that really like stringy stuff. There's not really much tack. Not much tack at all. Now I'm gonna go wash my hands and we'll do the other one. Okay, now this is the older version. I'm just gonna rub that between my hands. Like I said, it feels thicker and there's more tack, but you still don't see the stringy stuff. So it looks the same, but I can feel a difference. There's more suction to my hands when I do this. All right, since I had this applied, I'm going to go diffuse. I haven't actually introduced this product, which I usually do at this point before I apply it. So I'm going to read you the specs of this product, just a little clip here, a photo shot of that while I'm reading the specs, and I'm diffusing my hair. So I will check back with you after I've got that done. This is the ECO Argan Oil Gel. Condition and revitalize your hair with Argan Oil Styling Gel, formulated with natural argan oil to provide nourishment and control of frizz and add shine throughout the day. The Argan Oil Gel provides lightweight hold and flexibility to achieve your desired results. The key ingredients are argan oil and hydrolyzed wheat protein. The directions say to apply to wet or dry hair and work as desired amount through your hair and style as desired. All right, curl friends, I am back with my hair fully diffused and styled, and I'm in a different location. I usually film in my sunroom just over that way, but my sunroom is now all surrounding me. Let me know what you think of this location. I don't really like the idea of applying my products here because I feel like I'm going to get all over this flooring, which I really don't want to do. But you know, I'm trying to help with the lighting and everything like that. So, and I was really particular with the lighting because we're doing a side by side, and I didn't want like a false shine on one side versus the other. So this is just the leave-in conditioner and the Eco Styler. I have not put any oil on to scrunch out the crunch, but this is just what the first side is looking like, or this is the original side, the original Eco Styler gel, what it is looking like. And this is the new look, new formula side, what it is looking like. Okay, so now let's go over some of the comparisons and contrasts of these two before I apply my oil. So this side, the original Argan oil side, I do feel like I have a decent amount of shine. I do feel like I have good definition. There is a little bit of frizz here, not excessive. And then on the newer Argan oil side, I feel like my hair doesn't have as much shine. I do have additional frizz, especially in this section. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe the background, the white background behind me will make it easier to see. But I do have additional frizz here. I just feel like partially maybe because of the frizz, partially maybe just due to like maybe the argan oil being lower on the list of ingredients, my hair doesn't look as shiny. So those are the easy ones I can pick out. It feels mostly the same. There does feel just to be maybe a slight bit more hold on this side. Both sides of the hair dried the same. Both sides of the hair kind of casted the same, as in they really didn't have much of a cast that you could feel. And there's no cast now at this time. But I'm still going to go in with my Verb Ghost oil. I'm just going to glaze this over. I like to use this as an extra level of protection against heat and humidity, especially in the summertime. I'm just going to go over both sides. You know what? I actually like to flip upside down to apply this, so I'm going to do that. Okay, now that I have the oil applied, I don't really feel like that helped lay down too much of the frizz. I still feel like there's the same amount of frizz, but I do feel like this side looks a little bit fuller after kind of fluffing and scrunching and stuff like that. This side isn't terrible, but it's just a little bit flatter. This is just a little bit fuller. Part of that may be due to the functional frizz, as we like to call it, us curlies like to call it, but it's just giving me a little bit more fullness in this area. But personally, I don't use ECO Gel for its volume. I just know it's not going to be a volumizing gel. As of this point, my personal opinion, I still like my original side a little bit better, but we're going to check back on day 2 just to see how these are holding up. I'm just going to kind of use some small hair clippies and kind of pull this back off of my face as I go throughout the day, because if I don't, she's going to end up all kinds of wild and crazy and I'm not going to enjoy it. So I will be back tomorrow and I'll show you what this hair is looking like, how it's holding up. Okay, girlfriends, I am back for day 2 styling with the ECO Gels. If you'll remember, I have the Argan Oil Gel, and on my left side I have the newer version, on my right side I have the older version. So I know it's only been seconds for you since we last did this, but it's been a day. It's been 24 hours. So let's take a closer look at the newer side, the left side, and this is how it's holding up. I think the underside is holding up a little bit better than the top half. I definitely have some frizz here. I definitely have some, I do have some defined pieces, but definitely a lot of frizz right in this area. I'd say it's mostly concentrated in here. I was outside quite a bit, so I was in and out of quite a bit of wind, and that might have had some effect on it. Now let's look at the other side, the older version of the gel. And remember, we're just doing this comparison just to see how, if the gels are different. So I do have good definition, I feel like, on the underside. I still feel like I have pretty good definition on the top half. So, I mean, there is some minimal frizz. I had that yesterday, but not bad. The newer version side does have more volume to it. I think that's because my curls have always been a little bit more piecey on this side than on the original version side. It just lays a little bit lower, but as I said before, I don't use this gel for its volume. I know it's not going to provide volume, so I don't use it for that. I use it for the hold, for the consistency of the curl pattern, which is what I really like. This is what I'm used to having a lot of times. If you pair this with hairspray, chef's kiss. I love it in the summertime for that. I prefer to pair it with hairspray. I just feel like it lasts longer. As per usual, I've said this before, my hair was starting to look a little bit more, I don't know, just like wind swept yesterday before bed, and I put it up in my satin bonnet, slept on it. I feel like it's calmed down a bit. I don't know how it does it. I've said it before, I don't know how it does it, but it seems to be doing better. So I am liking my results on the old version side. The new version side isn't bad. It's not terrible, but there is definitely a difference. And there are a couple other things I want to address. In the notes that I read about this product, it does say it is conditioning, and I don't know that I would necessarily qualify this or consider this to be conditioning. My hair does not feel moisturized, if that's what they mean by conditioning, like softened. It just feels, I can feel the structure to my hair, but it doesn't feel dried out. So if you're a person with really dry hair, you're going to go in with a good, solid, nourishing leave-in conditioner. I went in with a lightweight one for my personal needs, but you're going to want to go in with a heavier one probably, and or a cream. So just keep that in mind if you have drier hair, that you may need to go in with more conditioning ingredients or products before applying this gel. Now, if you do go in with more conditioning ingredients, it's likely to break up the hold and cast that your gel will have. So is it a double-edged sword? Possibly. But if you're a fine hair curly, this newer version might be something that you like, because I feel like it is lighter weight in the application. It's not so sticky. Is it still a thicker gel? It is. But I find that it applies wonderfully if I apply to soaking wet hair. I didn't have any issues at all. I've never tried it on damp hair, but this applies great to soaking wet hair. I didn't feel like I had to go in with extra water or anything. So the application is better on the newer version than on the older one, the original one. Another thing that I've noticed is that the shine isn't really, there's not as much shine on the older or on the newer version as there is on the older version. And while that's not a huge factor for me, it might be for some of you, but I don't feel like my hair looks exactly dull. It just looks more dull than the side. I think a lot of that has to do with the frizz personally. Another thing that I'm curious about, it says a max hold on here on the container, max hold, just like the older version said. But in the specs that it says online, it says this Argan Oil Gel provides a lightweight hold and flexibility. Max hold or lightweight hold? I wish it needs to make up its mind. I feel like this is more of a lighter weight hold. And in honesty, even though this one said max hold, compared to some other gels that I've tried, this is not max hold. This is a good medium to strong hold in my opinion, the original version, but it is not a max hold. I think all of their other gels online say max hold though, except for one. I think one of them says firm hold. So I don't know how accurate those are. Based on my experience, I take it with a grain of salt. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful for you looking into kind of the differences between the older version of the ECO Argan Oil Gel and the newer version. As I said before, I can't speak to the other varieties of the ECO Gel. I just haven't tried them. I'm actually kind of curious about, like, I made a list here, the Sport ECO Gel, the Crystal, the Curl, and there's a Wave one. Will I try any or all of those? I don't know. We'll see. That's in the distant future. I'm not looking to purchase them anytime soon, really. I wish they had travel sizes, but I can't find those really available. I think maybe if I looked on Amazon, I did see some travel sizes, but they were like more expensive than the full size. I said, no, I'm not interested in that. But anyways, let me know what you think of these results in the comments down below. Let me know if you're interested in them. And also, what would be really helpful for all of us, if you've tried the old version versus the newer version of any of the gels, like it doesn't have to be this Argan Oil one that I tried for you guys. If you've tried the difference between the older version versus the newer version, let us know what that's like, if you've noticed any difference. So that would be very helpful. And until I see you again next week, next video, have a great day. Bye.